welcome to the Elizian Aeon, a higher perspective. I'm Liz James, and in this series I'll be presenting ideas for self-actualization, growth and expansion for higher consciousness, and becoming limitless as a collective and as an individual. Let's begin. Know thyself. This is the first principle of ancient Greek philosophy and Socratic wisdom. It serves as the starting point for developing self-awareness, making ethical choices, and pursuing a meaningful life. But what does it mean? When our self is accumulation of our life experience, that of our ancestors and all those who came before us, defining what it means to be human, our community, culture, upbringing, education, peers, moral values and beliefs, all conditioned or learnt from paths already carved and defined. And there's little room for deviation. This is not self, this is identity. Identity in relation to our place in the world and how we desire to be seen, to fit in, to be accepted. No human is born with a predetermined set of parameters that honour self, yet all are born with the ability to do so, to become self-actualised. It's simply the circumstances and what we choose to integrate along the path that forms our identity, our sense of place, and our expression of self. What we censor, devalue or reject of our true nature, when we judge, prioritise and enhance our perceived qualities or attributes that we believe lead to our ultimate success or failure. And this is the reason so many of us fail to ever fully know thyself. It's the reason we feel misunderstood, isolated, not enough, different, and as if it's something to fix, to change, or to do better at. We forget that we're all unique expressions of one whole. Humanity is diverse. No two beings are identical in every aspect. The way we think, feel, perceive, and express is what makes us individual beings. To fit and collaborate with others as the self in relation to the whole is part of the human experience. But it is not the sole mission. To be individual, to discern our limits and incompatibility with others is how we understand our true self and honour that aspect. Acceptance, allowing others to be who they are and releasing any expectations or limitations we believe must be in place for harmony, is understanding that self is the individuation of each and every one of us and that no one can override that. That's harmony. It's knowing conflict is not negative. It's a set of parameters that cannot coexist without a self being devalued or diminished. Much of what we believe is self is not in fact true. It's inherited ideals, beliefs and assumptions based on a system that devalued self and allowed for hierarchy and measurement to exist, to enforce and coerce others to follow against their own nature for the sole pursuit of power and domination. The self in its true nature doesn't seek to overpower or force another in order to be of the self, and when it does, it's not the self. It cannot be harmonious and of the all, of the underlying truth, and therefore we must let go of that. Not with hatred, fear, shame or animosity, but with understanding that growth and self-gnosis means flowing and releasing what no longer serves, and allowing others to do the same. Who we are never depends on others. Success shouldn't be defined by our forward motion that only advances if others are losing sovereignty or being denied the right to exist. To know thyself is to know others. Namaste means the divinity in me sees the divinity in you. So if our wants, needs and desires are incompatible with another's, they are not truly of the self. They're distorted and in disharmony. They're imbalanced and won't allow for true expression, either of ourselves or of another. So who are we really? Does our individual expression require competition, defense, attack, fear, censorship, judgment, and exclusion of others simply to be? And if it does, why would we ever believe that that's okay? Why do we not recognize that as long as we uphold that belief, that others will too? That disharmony, oppression, and imbalance will always exist, and nothing can be done to solve it within those paradigms and parameters. That this is just how the world works and there's nothing to be done about it. Does the world actually work like this? Can we be honest and agree that we don't feel good about that? That many of the things we long to do, say, achieve, fall away because they feel restricted, unrealistic, and like some future dream or promise that if we keep following the ways we're told would lead us to self-actualization and fulfillment, that we'll eventually get there? Because we never do. So knowing thyself starts with recognizing that we are not what we think we are. We are not what we believe we are on the surface. We're limitless beings asked to accept limitation and deny self so that others may actualize over us. When we awaken to that truth, we're faced with a choice. We can continue in futility, accept it, ignore it, and try to make peace with what we sacrifice of self to simply exist in the dream of another, and compromise more of who we are, willfully ignoring the sensations and logic. Or we can accept the fact that it is not truth, and we do not have to uphold it. The truth of self is feeling from within, listening to something deeper that guides us beyond the distorted mask of the world we believe is true. The self requires sustenance, safety, rest, and the right to develop and grow. So if these basic universal truths are not granted to each and every individual, then how can we possibly know the self in any truth? How can we believe another knows the self and acts in our interest from the same parameters if this is not the reality that we live in, that's been crafted for us? To know thyself means first unknowing what is not our individual truth. From then we can begin the true work.